Good afternoon. This is the Lyndonville Central School Secondary, grades 7 through 12, Character Education Council. And we are basically an advisory body in the middle high school, comprised of teachers, administration, our dean of students, that's been tasked with implementing parts of our strategic plan specific to character education. So we have planned professional development, we've planned rollouts of initiatives. Many of us have engaged in an extensive amount of training ourselves in various programs. And we were asked to share some of our insights with our experience with We Are 3C, and we were happy to do that today. My name's Aaron Slack. I am the middle high school principal, and I'll let my colleagues introduce themselves.
Hi, Laura Nowak, Math 7 through 12.
Aaron Bennett, Math 7 through 12.
Jill Keys, Special Ed 7 through 12.
Laura Valley, Phys Ed 7 through 12.
Jeff Kingsbury, High School Counselor.
Amy Chafee, Special Ed 7 through 12.
Lee Dillenbeck, Dean of Students 7 through 12.
Thanks, everybody. One of the first questions that I thought we might talk about is why We Are 3C. How did we become aware of it? Why did we feel that we had a need to adopt it? I can give you my perspective. I've been here 5 years. When I came, there was certainly a history with PBIS. We actually reinvented our whole implementation of PBIS. Some members of this group underwent training for a year through Erie One BOCES. We built it back up from the ground up and did some pretty extensive work. I think that was within the last 4 years. And then we became aware of We Are 3C because our current superintendent, Jason, was acquainted with the program developer. They lived in the same community, and we got a chance to meet Bart. For about 2013, I believe.
Yeah.
The first year, I think we did a very soft pilot with actually minimal expectations in terms of what people were expected to do in the implementation.
Well, Laura and I have been sent, we're in lead, I believe you were there too. We were all sent to Elba for the kind of like an introduction to it, and we kind of got like a little bit of this is what it's about, this is what we're going to do. So that was helpful for our aspect of it when we decided to use it.
Previous to that, though, we had, as you said, been trained in PBIS, Positive Behavioral Instructional Support. And our team developed lessons once a month, and teachers incorporated that for the first time since I've been here. So we already had a step in the classroom with teaching character education. And so we were implementing the lessons through PBIS. And as the team developed and we thought we could further those lessons using We Are 3C. So in its first year, which was last year, we supplemented our lessons both with PBIS and We Are 3C. And then this year, the team decided we were going to go full on board with We Are 3C lessons. So we do that twice a month. And we built that into our daily schedule. We've modified our schedule so that one time a month in the morning for a half an hour, the first block of the day, we'll do a lesson, and then one time a month in the afternoon, at the end of the day, we'll do a block.
The nice thing about the way we're doing it this year is we have the same group of kids who we work with every single time. Last year, when we kind of did this soft opening, if you will, of We Are 3C, it was with a different group of kids every time. I think the way we're doing it this year, where we're working with the same group of kids over and over again, we're creating that community, that sense of community, which is the whole basis of the program. I know for me personally, that has been very nice to see how the kids have bonded and come closer together. They frequently talk about our We Are 3C group, our We Are 3C community at other times throughout the day, like when I have them during PE. They go back to things we've talked about. I have been blessed with a really great group, admittedly so. I have, for the most part, kids who are very willing to participate in the lessons and take an active part in it and really get something out of it. And like I said, they refer back to it quite often, so I think it is sticking with them.
So when, one of the things throughout becoming aware of We Are 3C was the implementation of the curriculum, which from a counselor perspective, anything that involves social emotional learning is obviously attractive to me. And there are teachers who are not big fans of the social emotional component, and the curriculum in and of itself, through the utilization of a DVD, allows for the DVD to drive the conversations and to create conversation around what is being shown. And I've worked with Mr. Bennett in his classroom at times and have had been pleasantly surprised by the conversations that have occurred, and it's as easy as pressing play when technology is cooperating, that allows for that conversation and that dialogue to happen. So I've always said in conversations with my colleagues and with the developers of the program that, to me, what appealed to me was the ease of the program, as opposed to coming up with these conversations to have on your own, which some people are great at and others are not. But this is really there for you to press play and allow it to do some of the work for you.
And it was last year when we worked together, and we were switching the periods around, but this year we're staying with the one group. And that was, okay. It was great for the times that we did it. Often it wasn't so well, and it works better just having the same group
Right.
all the time. And initially, the students, at the very beginning of the year, they're kind of like, oh, this again, and we're kind of a little bit reluctant. But then once we got into it with the same group and did it with excellent fidelity, they look forward to it, and they're really doing a great job with it, really buying into it. So it takes some time and some buy-in.
To kind of piggyback on what Jeff was saying, he was talking about if the technology is cooperative. There have been a couple instances where it hasn't been. I know personally for me in my room, the room I use, I'm not able to use the DVD. However, because we've been given the actual hard copy of the lessons, which they made for us, and they designed the curriculum and said, just use this. I mean, if you go by that, the hard copy works just as well. I mean, that's what I use to drive my conversations. I will say though, I mean, these are just, kind of blanket lesson plans, that we're supposed to use for every grade level. So, I mean, I know I take some time to change my conversation slightly because I have mostly seniors. Other people are working with kids who are, 7th and 8th graders. So it does take a little bit of just being a teacher, really, to monitor and adjust the lesson plan for your particular group of kids. But personally, I don't think that's a problem if you're a teacher. So I don't see it as much of an issue.
So you had mentioned, like, we needed quick time on our desktops to be able to play it, and some of our computers did not have that, and therefore we were having a major issue when we got in there, and we weren't able to play it. So
Yeah.
therefore then the hard copies were,
The hard copies helped out a lot.
Helped.
Our technology guy, who's filming, he helped us out and put the stuff on our faculty share drive. But still, like me, there's these fancy new smart boards where the computer's behind the smart board and I can't put my disk in, that doesn't come up on I don't know. I still can't figure it out, but I'm still okay because I use the hard copy.
I know for me.
That was my point.
And Aaron, I know you had just alluded to it earlier, it takes some buy-in.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
For the
The
students.
teachers got to be
The
into it,
students
too.
and
Yeah.
the teachers, but, I have young students in the district, and we are implementing this, we are 3C pre-K to 12th grade. And so my issue with the program was the extensions, being able to, if a student has the same exact curriculum from the time that they're in 3rd grade, the time they're in 12th grade. How long before a student says, I've had this before, and then the buy-in's not there anymore. But we are assured that there are going to continue to be extensions based on, from Bart saying, and so I'm looking forward to after year 2, year 3, year 4, we at least have to have a 4-year rotation, so we're not
Right,
teaching
right.
the same thing every single year.
Well, we actually are only really getting through theme 1 this year.
Okay.
And there are 5 themes, so we're actually, in my opinion, I think almost going too slow for our level. That's one thing that I know a couple of us have talked about. There's a lot of repeat, which I think is good in some ways, because you really have to drive home those
Especially if
important
it's spaced
things,
out like that.
especially when you're only meeting every 2 weeks. I get that, and that's good, but I think there are times as well, though, where sometimes it feels like, oh, we're talking about this again. So that's when I have, maybe taken the conversation into a different direction, or maybe just applied things that are important to them in their life and tried to tie it in.
I usually do it with, like, around Christmas, when the value was coming up. I showed a video from a Boys and Girls Club, I want to say it was in Georgia or something, and then I said, okay, how would you guys relate this to your lives here? And the value with the holidays coming up, and the kids really related to it. One of the kids actually, after the video was done, we all challenged each other to do something good for someone else without having to be asked to do it. And some of my 8th graders, which was very surprising because they do kind of complain about having to do it until they get there,
Yeah.
actually brought it up when they got back and said, this is what I did over break for so-and-so. And it was shocking, the kids that actually stepped up and did something.
That's awesome.
So, it was cool.
I would say I use the disc and the hard copy, and I just follow the script. And it does take a little prep time, and I mean like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't walk into it cold, but if you look at it first, you can do it easily. And I was really impressed when WXXI came to talk with us, and it was obvious that the program lets you get to know your kids better, gets to let the kids know each other better, and them to know you. And then they interviewed some of the students. There was a young lady who doesn't say much of anything all the time, and she spoke to the camera, and she was saying some things that were incredible that I never scripted for her. But one of the things I remember she said was, well, it's really nice because once we get to know each other better and we get to feel comfortable, and we're not afraid to ask questions, and we can pair up with a friend to get help and things like that. And I'm thinking, wow, what more could you ask for?
I mean, that's why we do this stuff, and
Yeah.
she's picking up on that, that's
yeah,
great.
it was incredible. It really was.
Well, I like that the qualities, when we had the party, the qualities of the students, like you said, they come out in different ways, where we have one girl that's, again, very quiet, but when we had to plan the party, she took over.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she kind of was like, there's this group and this group, and she made out the plans, and she made sure all the groups were doing what they were doing, and I'm like, well, you definitely need to go into party planning when you get older, but it's nice to see those types of characteristics come out, because you're usually just in with them in the class, teaching instruction and doing that, where
And it-
this kind of lets them shine.
It was more than just a party too. It was
A
a
celebration.
block party, a block celebration of each other, and kind of like we brought some things in my group. We brought things in that we like to do, and we had a kid playing guitar, and
Mhm.
I didn't know, a lot of people didn't know he played guitar. He was really good. You saw that, and it was good bonding time, right?
One of my reflections has been, when I came to the district, not long after we resuscitated PBIS with success, we also were asked to implement the Old-Deus bullying prevention program. So all of a sudden, when you combined Leader and Me at the K-6, which was in some phase of implementation, we had way too many character ed initiatives and programs. And our strategic planning group basically said, we need to consolidate, we need to bring some coherence to all these competing initiatives. And I believe our 3C has helped us do that, if only because it took the place of and did all of the things that all of those earlier initiatives claimed to do or aimed to do, and I would argue did them better in certain ways, but I don't think it undermined or conflicted with any of them. We certainly, wanted to have an intrinsic program where we are teaching values and we are teaching decision-making and we are truly doing character education. Whereas, PBIS and Olveas may not really be thought of as character education programs at all, but maybe behavioral support programs, elements of which we've actually kept. But I walk around while we do lessons and I'm able to get into almost all the groups on some occasions. And even though we're all implementing the same lesson, 30 teachers or approximately 25 different sites, you will see 25 different lessons. It's highly differentiated, and I don't think it takes the teacher's teaching style or interest or the student's individuality out of it at all. And I mean, I can just say that because we've done the walkthroughs every time, and you never see it exactly the same way in two groups.
Well, I would have to say that my group that we're working with, I could tell after the last session that we had, they were kind of getting antsy with the value. So instead we kind of took the value in a different direction, and I had them do a group activity where they had to get their whole class off of an island, but they could only come up with 10 items to do it. So they were broken up into groups, so it's valuing your objects, which it's not going towards, but also valuing you need to make sure that your whole class is in a protective area. So it was kind of neat to see them group up into groups that they might necessarily not. A lot of times you see kids are like, just put us into groups, or they just group up with their friends. But they were doing it on their own and really coming up with really cool ideas. So it's taking it in a different direction, and that was kind of making it your own, where I could have done the script, which totally works. With the DVD, it doesn't work in our room, but with a hard copy, I could have. But I could see that they were getting antsy, so we kind of changed it up a little bit, and they responded well to that.
We did that too, and it was cool to hear other kids say, well, what happens if this were to happen, and have everyone give their insight on, would everybody be safe still, or, well, I thought about that, but then I went with this way, just got everybody's own individual input into it. It was really cool to see what they came up with.
I definitely believe the programs become part of the culture here. When it's one of those days when we do it, the kids just kind of seamlessly roll into it and are used to it and embrace it. So.
I don't want to give the sense that it's absolutely perfect, though. I mean, I overall the experience has been quite positive for me and my group. I'm thinking of one kid in my group in particular. He's a senior. He loves to tell me every time, I don't understand, we shouldn't have to do this in school. Kids should know this stuff. Well, he's right. They should. They should innately, innately, know to value other people and know how to show it, or they should at least be taught it and modeled it at home. But we know we have lots of kids who aren't. So I try to explain that to him, and I think part of it is he just likes to get me going and be difficult. But that being said, when we get into it and into the conversation, he involves himself and he ends up, I don't think he'll admit it, but I think he enjoys it.
That'll be that take it to the world part where he can share what he has with other people. Yeah.
I do notice that also though, because on the morning activities, if it falls according to our schedule on our day 2, I have them for We Are 3C, then first and second period. So by the time we get towards second period, they start getting really antsy. And again, they're 8th graders, and it's math. But they get really antsy because it is a long time, all of us together in the same room. So I do see that on those.
Give him a break.
Day.
Maybe,
Man.
oh, okay, sorry.
You gotta bring some math.
Brain breaks. Go for a walk.
We really appreciate the opportunity to share information about the program. I think it's been very positive. I can also tell you from my perspective, Bart in particular and Bob as well, the whole team has been very actively involved, many times being here on site for direct support, have been outstanding in terms of the PD component. we would really welcome visitors from your school to come in, do walkthroughs, do observation of this program in action. We like to showcase it. I think honestly, the kids like to show it off to some extent. We try to, ensure that there's some sense of community so that if guests are coming, we let kids know in advance. But we'd welcome you to do that. We'd welcome you to email, call, or Skype if you have any questions, and we would be happy to share any of our experiences. So thank you very much.